When I was growing up, I did not know what I wanted to do, but I knew the kind of woman I wanted to be. I wanted to be an independent woman, a woman who, on the go, who could pay for her bills and who didn't wait for the man to call the next morning. A free, independent woman. I worked as a young girl for an Italian man in Italy, Angelo Ferretti, and he had 3 factories. He knew everything about prints, he knew everything about knit, and he taught me everything. I thought I was doing nothing. I thought I would just sit there, and yet everything I know, I learned from him.
Von Furstenberg owes her upbringing in Belgium a great debt for her abundant, positive spirit. Her mother taught the young Diane to remain optimistic in the face of fear.
Freedom is probably the one thing that's most important in my life, and I think it came from my mother. My mother was a Holocaust survivor. She went to a concentration camp and came out. She weighed 49 pounds. And my mother was a survivor, not a victim. And above all, she told me, no matter what happened, never be a victim.
Often heralded as fashion royalty, the designer became the real deal when she married Austro-Italian Prince Egon von Furstenberg, gaining a title and the famous name.
And he was handsome, he was good looking, and we were together as sweethearts while we were at university. Then he went to America, and I went to Italy. Then we met again in Rome and we got engaged. Then he went back to America and I went back to the factory. The man who owned the factory had a fast Maserati, and I used to go with him from factories to factories, and he drove very fast. So I wasn't feeling well. I thought it was the Maserati, but really, I was pregnant. So all of a sudden, I said, oh my God, I so much want to be an independent woman. And here I am pregnant of the most glamorous man. Everybody will think that I did it on purpose, that I want to get married. But he did want to marry me. And so very quickly we had to get married and I had to move to America. So I went to my Italian boss and I said, I'm moving to America, I'm getting married. Will you please allow me to make a few samples from your factory and I will try to sell it. And that's what I did. At night, when everybody would leave, I would be with a pattern maker and making the first few dresses. I made t-shirt dresses, I made shirt dresses, and then I made the famous wrap dress. And the rest is history. No matter what I do in life, I think I will always be remembered as the wrap dress. A wrap dress is like a kimono. It's a very traditional form of clothing. It's a dress that has no buttons and no zipper that you just go around.
I'm wearing Diane all the time. I'm wearing her clothes because for a woman it's so easy to throw.
What really made me very successful is that I had created a product that women wanted.
Divorced 3 years later, having borne her prince 2 children, von Furstenberg ventured alone into the 70s and became a feminist emblem of empowered businesswomen. Von Furstenberg herself came to become the face of the brand.
Because I had no money for hiring a model, and I was kind of young and kind of pretty, and I sat on a white cube, and that photograph stayed with me for decades.
Diane and her iconic dress became known as symbols of feminine power. After a hiatus from fashion in the 80s, she re-emerged in the late 90s, regained control of her brand, and transformed it into one of today's most successful fashion empires.
And I was looking to find a creative director that can kind of take all these, a chef, that could take all these ingredients and really kind of master them and use them and so on. So it's a new decade, it's a new creative director, and it's yet another decade in my life and in the life of my brand.
Von Furstenberg's empire is housed within a 5-floored, crystal-roofed warehouse.
This is our headquarters. As you will see, this is the stair to paradise.
We have the shop on the main floor. We have the showroom. We have the offices, the design studio, and then you have my office, and then my private room in the bubble. I came to this neighborhood 10 years ago when I decided to start again. I came to this neighborhood first on 12th Street, and everyone thought I was crazy. And now this neighborhood has become a big, big trendy neighborhood. Oh, I should talk about the luggage. The entire thing of this fits in here, and you have room for the shoes. I always say, if you know how to live, you know how to pack. This was my first pattern, which is called the Lynx pattern. I reissued this pattern, and our First Lady used it for her Christmas card. How about that? My role in fashion is to give women tools to be themselves. I have always been inspired by women, and I design to inspire them. But my clothes are all about confidence.
When you see a woman walking, you can immediately identify her as a DVF woman. She's beautiful, she's confident, the way she strides.
I'm inspired by their strength. I'm inspired by women's resiliency. I have never met a woman who is not strong. That doesn't exist. All women are strong. But sometimes they are afraid of their own strength. Smile, be yourself, just have a wonderful time. Enjoy it. Smile, you don't have to be serious. Have a great time with yourself. Be happy to be who you are.
She's made a jersey pantsuit. It's a trouser suit that looks as if it's tailored. In fact, it's made out of jersey, which I thought would be a great in-flight replacement for a horrible, slobby tracksuit.
You could really just see her picking up, throwing those clothes in a suitcase and taking off for Florence.
One thing I really like with the Alice bands are the kind of floral head adornments, which are, as we say in fashion, very directional.
It was so interspersed with these wonderful signatures of Diane, her own personal signature. It said a lot about how intimate the brand is to her and how personal it is to her.
I think that the first thing I did when I became a president of the CFDA is that I made it a family.
This is surreal. I'm gonna kill this thing. When I hear the name Diane von Furstenberg, I hear the most remarkable woman in the world. This is her house. These are her rules.
Now we are meeting formally.
I will do whatever it takes to make my dreams come true.
She sold her eggs to come to Fashion Week.
Next. These girls have to work. They're learning about design, they're learning about merchandising. I'm really concerned about how these girls are going to behave.
None of them are good. I have 2 words for them. Bye-bye. This is more intense than I originally thought.
I worked my butt off to get to this point.
Do you usually get into fights? You're not going to make it. I want one girl who can travel the world and be a DVF girl.